gymnasts from all over the world have traveled to Pottsville, Pennsylvania to compete in what's known as the Friendship Classic. These elite athletes have reached the sport's highest level and aspire to make it to the next Olympic Games. Tonight, we'll crown the ones who prove that they can perform under the spotlight and pressure of a world-class competition. And welcome to another edition of Gymnastics USA. I'm Shannon Miller. The Friendship Classic has attracted gymnasts from 23 different countries throughout the last 8 years. Tonight's event has its share of elite-level athletes from around the world. Kayla Hoffman is a senior elite-level gymnast on the U.S. national team. Kayla is competing in her first international competition as a member of this team. She finished 8th in the all-around at last year's national championships. Representing Japan is Maya Kuroda. She finished 4th on the uneven bars at last year's World Championships. Daria Zagoba from Ukraine finished 1st in the all-around at the 2005 Ukrainian Cup. Also on tonight's show, our Inside Story segment looks at the FIG's new scoring system and how the athletes, coaches, and judges are adjusting. We'll check out some tips on the floor exercise in our Essential Gymnastics segment. About to start. Lou Tilley joins me now for the Friendship Classic.
And the Friendship Classic welcomes you to Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and they welcome the Olympic champion Carly Patterson on hand with us. You know, 14 of the competitors in the 2004 Olympic Games have participated here in past years. Welcome to Marks Hall, Pottsville, Pennsylvania, located somewhere between Scranton and Allentown and Harrisburg and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. An unlikely location perhaps, but 28 nations have gathered here over the last 8 years. Some of the great Olympic elite gymnasts getting a good taste of international competition. Here's one of the stars of the meet from Union, New Jersey, right in the heart of Comcast and CN8 country, Kayla Hoffman, one of the real favorites here from Rebound Gymnastics.
She is looking forward to representing the United States in international competition. Of course, that's exactly what she's doing right here.
Kayla's now 18 years old. We've seen her in several of our competitions, including last year here at the Friendship Classic in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Starting off, she's going to mount from the other side of the bars, the backside. Hitting a nice strong handstand to begin with.
Oh.
Big release move that's called a Hindorf. It's a free hip to a hecht and just ends up a little bit short of the bar. Of course, at some point we will have to discuss this new code of points that we have. A fall is no longer 5/10. That was actually an 8/10 deduction for that fall. But she is coming back very strong. Beautiful form in the air. And another unfortunate fall. And those are similar skills. They're both kind of the reverse hecht family. And it looks like she was making the same mistake on both. Just waiting a little bit too late to get back up with her chest up towards the bar.
So a tough start for Kayla Hoffman, one of the stars of this friendship meet. Now a member of the U.S. national team, hoping to represent the U.S. in international competition.
Lining up for a dismount. Beautiful double layout. Holds on to that landing.
Stuck it on the landing after a very difficult start for Kayla Hoffman right off the bat.
That's what it takes to be an international level gymnast. You know, you're going to make mistakes. She made 2 huge mistakes to start out with, both of them 8/10 of a deduction, but she came back strong in the dismount. Watch here, beautiful body position in the air, nice and laid out, and nails the landing.
A score of 13.150 for Kayla Hoffman, kind of a rough start for her. And here is one of the youngest competitors in the field, Alia Mustafina from Russia, who is their children's national champion. It's the second year in a row, Shannon, that we've seen a very young competitor here from Russia.
Absolutely, and she looks very young, and she is very young, but she's got the competitive fire that it needs to compete on an international level. And today we're just looking to see how she handles the pressure.
And this is the point, isn't it? You bring them all the way over here to the United States, a 2-hour cab ride, or rather a car ride to Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Kids and competitors from all over the world. And her first taste of it, and you kind of see it in her eyes here. She's just been introduced to the crowd.
That's absolutely the point. You know, the coaches want you to get experience. They throw you into these competitions, into these international realms where you basically sink or swim. They want to see that fire come out. Whether you make a mistake or not doesn't matter so much at this level. What they want to see is that fire in the eyes, that you can make a mistake, get back up, and go on.
So she's ready to go. Here's her one shot on the ball.
Yurchenko tuck full twist, very nice, good height off the horse. Not the most difficult vault, but what she did well.
She landed like a feather, floating down.
You can see she gets a nice block off the horse, gets some height in the air. And throughout the years, over the next couple of years, this will turn into a double or even a 2.5 twist.
So young Alia Mustafina from Russia, 13.7 on the vault. Olivia Vivian from Australia on the bars. One of the taller competitors.
And as a taller athlete, she should get great lines on these handstands. Beautiful. Nice stoop position to a straddled Jaeger. Little leg separation right there on the overshoot, but coming back with that nice pirouette. Nice swing throughout this routine. Coming up on the double front dismount. Beautiful routine.
Olivia Vivian here from Australia, one of the 7 nations.
This is a great way for her to start her competition. You can see the beautiful lines on her handstands. Right here, nice high, above the bar, double tuck front. Sticking that in.
So here on the parallel bars, Olivia Vivian, 14.95. And hello again from Pottsville, Pennsylvania on a beautiful spring night. A little steamy inside. It's warm here for the hundreds of competitors who have gathered along with thousands. They do a very nice job, don't they, in the unlikely spot of Pottsville, Pennsylvania for this international field.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah. So far, we see these young competitors. Are they struggling, like I am a little bit, with the new scoring system that's in place for the first time in this year, 2006?
Well, I think obviously the gymnasts are struggling somewhat because they're having to do new routines, form a new strategy for what they're competing. But it's not so much the gymnasts as it is, I think, the coaches and the judges struggling to find out where they're going with this scoring system and making sure that they're handling it correctly so the gymnasts get the right score. Is
it akin to what we all tried to understand at this past year's Winter Olympics, the difference in the ice skating scoring where they're accumulating points now? And we don't have the 10-point system anymore now in gymnastics. Instead, we're building, right? Right.
Gone are the days of the perfect 10. Right now, we're looking at 2 panels. They've completely split the panels. One is a panel for difficulty, one for execution. Then you add those scores together and then add any neutral deductions like stepping out of bounds or overtime on beam, and that's the score you come up with. So the scores we're seeing today, whether it's a 13.6 or a 15.1, you're just looking for the highest score.
One of the reasons that events like this are important for all these competitors as they kind of, refine their act and move on to the major competitions in the year ahead.
That's right, and that's what they're looking for here. They're looking to throw out their new skills, like every competition, regardless of the scoring system, and see which skills that they're doing well. The only thing with this new scoring system is the amount of perfection that the judges are looking for. And what we're finding is in some areas the athletes are pulling back and maybe not doing as much difficulty because what they do, they need to do very well.
And let's continue action now. We're still in the first rotation, back on the bars now. And this is one of the standouts in the meet from Japan, Maya Kuroda on the bars.
One of her best events, beautiful handstand work and pirouetting. Want to pay attention to her hand movements, the way they're facing. Beautiful full twist to straddle Jaeger. Again, full pirouette to an overshoot. Coach standing in just in case, but she had no problem. She's going to finish with a nice high double tuck front. Gorgeous routine. That's a great way to start this competition.
Mayu Kuroda from Japan, who finished 4th in bars at the 2005 World Championships.
Here's her full pirouette into her first release move, a straddled Jaeger. Beautiful catch. You can see her watch the bar as it comes around. Another angle of her dismount. Tough blind landing. She does it very well.
Mayu Kuroda then first rotation on the bars, 15.50. Great starting score. So we wind down the first rotation. Plenty of action still to come from the Friendship Classic. And when we come back, Shannon will take you inside for a little closer look at the new scoring system. That's our inside story when we come right back.
Today at the Friendship Classic in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. The International Gymnastics Federation implemented a new scoring system in 2006. It will undoubtedly be a challenge for the gymnasts, the coaches, and the judges to comprehend and adjust to this new system.
They've got to do a lot more gymnastics in a short period of time, and it's actually we're in a transition, obviously, learning the new code, but it's been a difficult process.
The process will most likely get tougher before it gets easier. For everyone involved in the sport of gymnastics, getting used to the new code will take time. Gone is the old formula of scoring, where a 10-0 was the symbol of perfection. In its place are two distinct panels of judges scoring each routine, with a separate score for difficulty and one for execution. Then adding them together, along with any neutral deductions, to determine the gymnast's final mark.
Given some of the things that transpired in Athens, the FIG felt that we really needed to get away from the 10-0 total value for a routine and be able to demonstrate the increased level of difficulty combined with execution. So they've developed a way of allowing athletes to get more points for having a more difficult routine while still being able to be rewarded for excellent execution.
While the premise seems simple enough, the unknown variable that has always decided the final outcome in gymnastics will be the judges. Their scores will ultimately affect how the gymnasts and coaches plan their routines.
You know, there's a lot of strategy especially in this first year, to try and figure out how much difficulty do you put in your routine. Are they really going to take the deductions that are the new deductions, which are a big change from last year or at the Olympic Games in 2004.
You actually can have unlimited difficulty up to 10F skills, and I don't know if that's actually possible or not, but the limit is stretched a little bit further than it had been last year and previous codes.
It rewards you for how clean your gymnastics is. I've had to, water down some of my routines, such as parallel bars and pommel horse, actually, to make sure that I could stay on, hit a clean, nice-looking routine. And, I think if you take a lot of risk, they find more deductions in those risks. So you kind of have to be smart about what you're doing.
The new code is also likely to affect the way gymnastics teams are put together.
There's an increased emphasis on the individual event specialist versus the all-around gymnast. It's very difficult now for an athlete to be the best in absolutely every piece of equipment. So you're now going to be looking at teams that are composed of more event specialists perhaps than 2 or 3 great all-around gymnasts. So there's a much different approach to putting a team together, as well as a much different approach to what you're actually training for.
One thing that is for certain when it comes to the new code is that the world will be watching.
I think the entire world is taking a look at this and saying, okay, what is working, what's not working, and what adjustments do we need to make? Part of the challenge is you want to be able to train athletes to compete for a certain set of rules. So we don't expect any real changes to be made until after this year's World Championships. But we believe that after the 06 Worlds, things will kind of settle into a more balanced code of points.
And the judges taking it all in as well for the first time anyway here at the Friendship Classic in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Rotation 2 now as the competitors flip-flop apparatus. The vaulters move to the bars and vice versa. Catherine Nguyen, a promising young athlete here in rotation 1. She's already scored 13.2 on the vault, now on the bars.
Looking for that nice tight form. Beautiful toe point.
You're watching the positioning of the legs and the feet as much as anything here, aren't you?
Well, it's something that your eye is drawn to, and of course you have to pay attention to the hand changes, all the grip changes, but that line is so important, and you can see right
Lost
there.
it right there. Good call, yeah. And lost some of her pace and energy.
It just kind of breaks up the routine when you have other things going on at the end of your legs.
Catherine Nguyen, interesting to note that she's one of the competitors that's technically an elite junior, 14 and under, competing with some of the older girls.
Nice high release move. Good bit of difficulty right there, and coming up on this dismount, a nice double pike, a little bit short in that landing. She could have pulled the pike around just a little bit farther.
So Catherine Nguyen, in her second exercise of the evening, improves on her score here with the 13.95 on the bars. And here is young Miss Kuroda again from Japan, who has more than a half-point lead on the field after just one rotation in scoring 15.45 on the bars. Here she is in the vault.
And she did start with one of her better events, but she can keep this momentum going. Very nice vault. Interesting vault. We'll watch it on the playback. She'll actually do a full twist onto the horse. Watch right here. She's going to do a round up onto the board, complete full twist, and then a pike semi off the horse. And really the only deduction you're looking at here is a big step on the landing. Other than that, she keeps pretty good form in the air. Little separation of the legs right there. Of course, the judges don't get the benefit of seeing it in slow motion.
Mayu Kuroda from Japan in first place after one rotation. Japan's Mayu Kuroda, here are the scores, 13.20 for the Japanese gymnast on the vault. The Friendship Gymnastics Classic from Pottsville, Pennsylvania. More from the bars and the vault. Rotation 2 when we come right back. We are midway through the second of our 4 rotations here at the Friendship Gymnastics Classic. Christine Nguyen, who was first among her group coming off the vault where she scored 14.6, so she's off to a good start in this meet.
Very good start, and this is an excellent event for Christine. So for a nice pirouetting, beautiful reverse hacked. Little form break right there on the overshoot. But she moves through this bar routine really nicely. She gets a nice swing throughout the routine. No problem right there.
Ooh.
Interesting dismount. Handstand pops off the bar for a double tuck.
That was different. Christine Nguyen, who is competing out of Texas, strong world team.
It's great to see some of the competitors doing some really different skills. Here, watch her dismount very closely. She's not going to swing into it at all. Straddle stalled her, pops off the bar, double tuck down.
What great strength that must take.
Very nice.
Christine Nguyen, the young gymnast out of Texas, scores 13.6 on the bars. Kayla Hoffman, who perhaps has one of the stronger local followings from Union, New Jersey, just across the river, not far from here, really, as the crow flies, now on the vault.
Strong run down the runway. Yurchenko, beautiful Yurchenko, 1.5 twist. Gorgeous body in the air, looking for that straight line.
Yeah, she has the look in many ways. Kayla Hoffman, 18 years old, big smile for her vault.
You know, she's got the look in her gymnastics, but she's also got the look before she does her gymnastics. You can tell she's taking this very seriously. Very nice. It's a little stepping around on that landing. I think that's more because of the mat's a little squishy than anything. Nice form in the air. You could see how well her toes are pointed in the air, and I don't know who has time to think about that.
Kayla Hoffman with a score then of 14.350. A good improvement after the bars for Kayla Hoffman. Daria Zagoba, another of the two-man Ukraine team, as it were. Not all the competitors compete in all four of the exercises. Daria just in the beam and bars here at the Friendship Classic.
And of course, she came all the way over from Ukraine, and she can get some great experience on those two events. So far, a difficult bar routine. Beautiful pirouetting. That was a mistake right there, but she's pulling herself out of it. The judges will notice, of course, but it won't be a deduction as much as a fall.
Just completing a routine from the Ukraine,
Daria Zagoba here on the bars.
A fairly strong routine. You can see right here, a lot of pirouetting, beautiful full turn on one arm, right to a piked Jaeger. And here she comes. You can see she's getting a little tired, working really hard to get that handstand up there, but coming through on this double tuck and hanging on to that landing.
Oops. Daria Zagoba, outstanding number here, 15.550. Easily the best performance we've seen already on the bars. We're done 2 rotations, halfway home, and when we come back, one of the feature events, the floor exercise, and in our essential gymnastics segment, Shannon will demonstrate firsthand. That's coming right up.
Welcome back to another edition of Essential Gymnastics. In today's segment, we're going to learn exactly what to watch for during a floor exercise routine. Floor exercise should be a combination of power and grace. It's the one area where a gymnast can really let their personality shine through. Now, the judges are looking for a gymnast to cover as much of the 40-foot by 40-foot floor exercise area as possible. Here with me today, I have Emily from Ursinus Gymnastics in Collegeville, Pennsylvania. She's going to help demonstrate some of the requirements that we're watching for on floor exercise. First up, we want to look for a 180-degree split jump or split leap. Next, we want to see a 360-degree turn. Now, a lot of gymnasts will compete a double or even a triple turn, so watch for that. Next, we want to see some kind of forward salto. And some sort of backward salto. Along with these requirements, a gymnast should show artistry and presentation throughout her routine. Thanks so much, Emily, for showing us some great skills today, and good luck with competition this year. Thanks. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Friendship Classic at Martz Hall in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. 7 different nations represented here, and we're halfway through the competition. One of the more interesting stories of the meet, Alia Mustafina, the youngest competitor in the main event, as it were, of the Friendship Invitational, where the junior competitors can actually compete head-to-head with some of the seniors or elite competitors. And here's an example. This Mustafina from Russia.
And she does not look out of place at all.
No.
Opening tumbling pass, second tumbling pass, beautiful landings. And throughout this competition, she has held her head high with a confidence that no 11-year-old really should have. Two and a half punch tuck front.
You can hear the crowd really responding. She has center stage to herself right now. Great experience.
Great experience. She's already completed 3 tumbling passes. And, of course, with that turn, trying to get some of these dance elements in.
Yeah.
Judges are looking for that dance, that showmanship. Can she take her eyes off the floor and look around at what's going on and really draw the audience in? But also these strong tumbling passes.
Yeah, look at this athleticism, and bear in mind again, folks, 11 years.
Last tumbling pass. Nice double full.
She's only been on Earth for 135 months.
Very nice performance. And there's a lot of tumbling going on in these routines. 4 tumbling passes, that's the norm right now. And there's even been rumors of athletes doing 5 tumbling passes. All of these tumbling passes that Alia did were very strong and very clean. She watches her form in the air, pays attention to these landings, trying to stick, making sure that she saves every tenth that she can.
Really concentrating. So the 11-year-old Russian, here's her score on the floor exercise, 13.6. Christine Nguyen, one of the outstanding performers, just 4/10 of a point out of first place overall after 2 rotations. Here she is on the floor. That's the dominant costume of the event, the World Club, with another strong team here from Texas.
And Christine is looking for a strong performance, carry that momentum, try to pop herself up into first place. Huge opening pass, Arabian double front. Whip back directly to a 2.5, and she ran way too far for that.
You see that very often where they fall forward.
Well, that's a difficult move. It's a blind landing, like we always say, the frontwards landing, but she was also supposed to perform a skill out of it and just completely missed the block. We should mention that is obviously going to be a tough fall. Coming back with a double pike, a little low on that landing, but that second pass fall is going to be not only the 8-tenth deduction, but she gets 3/10 for going out of bounds.
Might want to pick a musical selection with a better message next time. It's Elton John, Funeral for a Friend.
Right now she needs a strong dismount. Full.
Nice.
Good way to end it, leave the judges with a good impression, but that's going to be a tough score.
Christine Nguyen with a world-class program and off to a good start.
Right here, beautiful start. Arabian double front, nice and high in the air. Here's where she reaches some trouble. She starts out really overruns and does a whip back straight to a 2.5, and you could see how far her shoulders were in front of her feet. Just could not get that timing right. Right now, the second to last tumbling pass, nice high double pike, a little low on that landing, but she pulls it out.
Hold on there. Christine Nguyen, one of the leaders in the competition, through 3 rotations now. And the judges score Nguyen at 12.8 for Christine on the floor exercise. We're halfway home. Rotations 3 and 4 to come. The most important events of any meet as we go to the floor exercise and get on the beam with these young ladies right after this. Stay with us here on. Welcome back to Pottsville, Pennsylvania, home of the 8th annual Friendship Classic. And we're busy in action here in rotation 3 of 4 and tonight's gymnastic event. Catherine Nguyen, another of our featured performers, out of Texas, United States competitor, 1.5 off the lead through her first 2 rotations. This is her 3rd event of the Friendship Classic. Like her sister now, performing on the floor.
And this competition is becoming all about staying on the equipment, staying in bounds, staying on your feet. So if she can hit a clean routine, that may pop her up in the standings.
I don't know if we have a slippery slope or a slippery mat, but it's been tough staying upright. Wow.
Nice double pike back to open, right out of bounds. It was tough to see with our view, but she did step out with either 1 or 2 feet.
Is there any reason to time those jumps so close to the corners and risk that?
Well, you have to work up a certain amount of power. You have to take usually a minimum of 3 steps to get into a tumbling pass, and some girls take a little bit more, and as we talked about in some of the other performers, overshooting the mark, and when you run more than halfway across the floor, you risk going out of bounds. As these gymnasts do more combinations of skills, a lot more front tumbling, it becomes more difficult to get all of the movements in that short amount of distance. Some very nice leaps. So far, a clean performance, a little low and squatty on that landing. She stayed on her feet, though. Nice performance.
Catherine Nguyen. Here's her first tumbling pass, and as we said, she cut this very close.
You can see she tumbles right at the halfway mark, double pike, and of course if she didn't step back quite so far, she kind of over-rotated that landing and stepped out of bounds. Right here, coming back, double full twist. Very nice landing there. And again, you know, pretty solid landing. She only had that one minor deduction out of bounds, but staying on her feet is gonna help her in the standings.
The judges score that as a 13.75 for Catherine Nguyen on the floor exercise. Kayla Hoffman, one of the pre-meet favorites here after a rough start on the bars, coming on the vault, and now here she is on the balance beam. Nice start.
Nice full pirouette. It's a nice, interesting mount. We don't see a lot of those anymore. We don't see a lot of planches anymore, which is the skill she just performed.
Still strength move there, huh?
Yes, very nice. Such a strong athlete, very powerful.
Kayla's one of the older competitors here. Ooh.
And, you know, that's a huge, huge degree of difficulty in that skill.
Really? Yeah.
Back handspring, full twist. And it's great that she's throwing that type of difficulty here at this competition,
right.
But obviously she came up a bit short and off to the side.
Exciting news for her. She is apparently headed to the University of Alabama on full scholarship next year. Great gymnastics conference.
They already have such a strong team, and Kayla will just add to that.
But here she is in front of basically a home crowd, trying to come on strong, and this is the third of her 4 routines. Floor exercise still to come, trying to win the all-around title.
Coming up on her dismount, she really needs to hit actually a leap, and she had a major wobble right there. And now preparing for this dismount that she really needs to hit. And I keep calling it wrong, and she keeps going. She's doing skill after skill.
Piling up some points.
Yes, she is. And there's the ding. It's difficult for these gymnasts to fit so many skills into a minute and a half.
And she's stretching it right here. That was the 10-second warning.
It is, and she's barely going to make it. Double pike, and it seems like she rushed it just a little bit. When you hear that bell, you tend to get a little bit antsy, trying to get off the beam, and just rush the dismount a bit. Here's her first big move, back handspring, full twist, and it looked like she was going to be on. You could see her drop her left shoulder, and of course she was right off the beam. Here she goes on her dismount. Double pike, very difficult to get around. She just needed a little bit more punch on that block.
But as Shannon pointed out, a high degree of difficulty in that routine, and she still has managed to pick up 14 points then on the beam with just the floor exercise left. Here's Valeria Savoyeva from the Ukraine. They've sent 2 competitors here, and this is her 3rd event of the evening, now on the floor exercise. She's one of the juniors able to compete with the elite senior athletes here.
Again, timing, big timing problems on that 2.5 punch front.
It's got to be so discouraging to make a mistake like that so early on.
So early on, and to come back and of course have that second tumbling pass. and this is where these girls are gaining experience. I guarantee you she'll be back in the gym on Monday working that skill very hard. She has beautiful hands, and they really choreographed that into the routine. It's very nice. Double pike, third tumbling pass. Very nice. Good difficulty.
Well, that was pretty. Interesting routine.
Very nice. A lot of leaping, and she does it very well. I don't like the walking backward into the corner, though, I have to admit.
Yeah, I've heard you say that many times over the years.
It's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
It's a little too deliberate, right?
It is. You know, at this level, these gymnasts shouldn't be walking back into the corner. Everything should be choreographed.
Valeria Savoyeva, first tumbling pass.
Very tough. Watch her as she rotates way over the mark. Her chest was facing towards the floor, completely missed the block. But she came back on this third tumbling pass. Nice high double pike.
Nice and squared up.
And really finishes out the routine on a good note right here with a double twisting front.
The score for Savoyeva from the Ukraine, just 12.6. 12.6 for Savoyeva. All of us old football players like to say it's all about the fourth corner. So it is. We come down to the fourth rotation at the Friendship Classic, but we'll be right back here on CNA. Next Sunday night at 9, one of the premier events of the year here on CNA as we take you to the NCAA Men's Individual Championships next Sunday night at 9. And Shannon Miller with a fellow Okie who, well, John lays it out what he has in store for him.
You know, last year I got third in the all-around, and I All-Americaned on, I want to say, 4 events. So, you know, I'm really looking to maybe, I'd like to be a national champion on maybe rings. It's one of my best events right now, floor, maybe even high bar. But definitely the all-around is one thing that I'm looking for to maybe get higher than third place, maybe even win this year. Right now I'm ranked #1 in preseason rankings, and I think I can hold on to that and do really well in the all-around.
I'm Lou Tilley along with Shannon Miller. I say fellow Okie. You're from Oklahoma originally, and he comes in with the Sooners, always a very powerful program. A lot of people don't realize there aren't that many programs left for the men in the United States.
No, unfortunately, there's not. And Oklahoma's lucky to have such a powerful program, and they're looking to win another national championship this year.
Boy, the focus has really become on the women in gymnastics. Here are some of the young stars that we're covering tonight at the Friendships Gymnastics Classic. And after 3 rotations, after 3 exercises, here's how they stand. Mayu Karada, the sensational young athlete out of Japan, on top of the American from nearby Union, New Jersey, Kayla Huffman. Outstanding competition.
Outstanding, and Kayla started off on such a rough note with 2 falls on uneven bars, and you look at the scores and you can't tell from the scores, so you can see where she's coming up close, and if she would have hit the competition today, she would have been far ahead right now.
And a reminder that we're under the new scoring system for the first time in this year, so as we go to the 4th rotation now, beams and floor exercise, anything could happen in those standings.
Absolutely. As always, beam's a tough one, and anything can happen.
Let's take a look now. Rotation number 4. Catherine Nguyen having a fine overall meet in 5th place overall, and the top performing junior as they combine the seniors and junior elite classes here at the Friendship Classic. Pretty position opening.
Very nice. Interesting way to perform her full turn. Beautiful flexibility. She lays her head back. Her heel was above her head, just like it's supposed to be. And she has beautiful form, and she's so light in her landings. Everything she does looks very effortless in the air.
The younger of the 2 sisters competing here at the Friendship. There's a good example. Very soft.
Each of these skills counting towards her 10 elements that she needs, including the dismount, to add up to her total score. There's the bell for the dismount. Double full, and I'm not sure what happened there because she shouldn't have had a problem with the double full landing. She's got that extra mat in there for padding.
Yeah, it's the second time you've seen that mat kind of slide out from under on the dismount. We'll look at that in a moment.
Right here, beautiful shot of her back handspring layout, step out. And here's her dismount, and she really should not have any trouble getting this rotated all the way around. She takes off, doesn't get a great block, but that mat just slides out from under her. And you know what? That's part of it. You have to think about those things before you go up to compete. Do I really need the extra 4 inches of padding or not?
Catherine Nguyen's last exercise of the evening is a good one, and a score of 14.6 from the judges. And Kayla Huffman now on the floor exercise as we continue in the competition. She's one of the leaders. Although she has struggled at times, she's piled up enough points now to sit in second place overall.
Strong opening pass. She just needs to hit right now. Beautiful pike full in.
Oh, and off to a strong start here in her last event of the evening, trying to steal the overall crown from Mayu Kuroda.
Some strong tumbling. Nice, trying to keep that leg held above horizontal.
Kayla in the prime time of her career, 18 years old, out of Union, New Jersey. Not far from New York City.
Beautiful dance. Nice pose in the corner before she sets up for her next tumbling pass. Punch layout front, and she was able to hold on to it where we saw others fail.
Really well timed to the music here as a very polished choreographed routine.
Very nice. It's strong music for a strong, powerful gymnast.
Right.
Ending with a huge double layout. Great competition.
There you go. Listen to the crowd. And look at her coach, Kayla Huffman. Rocking them late in the competition, making a run at the overall crown.
Last tumbling pass. I'm sorry, this is not her last tumbling pass.
Oop.
Layout, she stays in bounds. And here is her last tumbling pass. Nice, high, beautiful form, double pike dismount.
And a
nice
strong finish. Yeah, Kayla Huffman starts out her last event just 25 hundredths off of the lead of Mayu Kuroda now as we wait for the scoring. And there's young Mayu Kuroda from Japan who has an idea of what she needs to do. She's still to come in the floor exercise. And sure enough, the judges agree. Best they've seen so far tonight. Kayla Huffman with a score of 14.7, coming on strong at the end of this meet. So here it is. Mayu Kuroda now goes to her last event of the meet, Shannon Miller. It's hers to lose.
It is. She has held on to that lead from the very first event. And right here, if she just nails a pretty solid routine, she can retain that lead. But we have seen today this floor just eating the girls up.
Right. Mayu Kuroda, the young Japanese competitor, the only one from the land of the rising sun here at the Friendship Classic, and the leader through all 3 rounds.
And she wants that gold medal. Nailing the opening pass, not even taking the step that she's allowed to take.
Boy, she's a dynamo. You and I spotted her even in the warm-ups. We thought she looked so self-assured.
She is. I love her confidence at such a young age, and she has really just gone about this competition systematically, doing her job, taking control of every skill.
Could be a breakthrough competitor for the Japanese gymnastics program.
This would be wonderful for their program to have a young gymnast coming up through the ranks, competing so well internationally. Whip straight to a double full.
Ooh,
beautiful.
You see the great success that they're having in women's figure skating right now.
I'm sure they'd like to continue that with the women's gymnastics program.
This floor exercise, as it goes on, the second half of the program, more and more difficult?
It's hard to tell. Some gymnasts have more difficulty at the end. this is not the most difficult routine that we've seen today.
Right.
But it's like we've said, as long as you're performing what you're doing and you do it well, that's what's going to help.
And it was a relatively short floor exercise program. Is it good enough for Mayu Kurata, the leader through the first 3 rotations, this to take the gold?
Coming up here on her tumbling pass, starting out with a nice high double pike, taking hold of that landing. And it's good that she's really focusing on these landings, trying to stick them, but what she's going to find out is in competition it might actually be better to take that step that she's allowed instead of getting the deduction for a hop.
And young Mayu Kurata, we await the judge's decision. Mayu Kurata plays it a little close to the vest and looks, well, will this be good enough? A score of 14.550. Well, it's that time of the year now where we're all crunching numbers, but the judges are totaling up the scores. We'll be back with the final results from the Friendship Classic. Stay with us on CNA. It's a charge to the finish here. Very tight competition, so it's time to hand out the hardware. And here's how it finished at Martz Hall. All around goes to Mayu Kurata. The young Japanese gymnast holds off Kayla Hoffman by a 1/10 of a point, Shannon.
What a great job by Mayu. You know, the name of the game is hitting your events, and that's what she did. She came in, she was consistent, and she walks away with the gold.
And she, kind of an error-free final program, didn't take a lot of chances. It paid off. Vault, Christine Nguyen finishes on top of Hoffman. And the young Russian, 11-year-old Elia Mustafina.
Coming in third on vault, what a tremendous experience for her, and she came in and was just solid.
On the bars, Daria Zagova, who only competed in 2 of the events here, narrowly over Kuroda and Olivia Vivian.
And again, what a great job by Daria. She comes in to do 2 events, meaning she has to sit out a couple of them, but she comes in and she does her job. Great performance on both events.
World-class looking competitor on the beam then. Here's how they finished. And it's Mustafina again. You loved her routine, and you had the eye for the winner here.
It was a beautiful routine. She did have a fall, but it was packed with difficulty and so solid throughout.
11 years old. Keep those names in mind. And then on the floor, Kayla Hoffman, as we thought, with a sensational final rotation, almost pulled off the overall by winning the floor.
And what a fantastic way for her to end her competition. A rocky start, a rocky middle, but ends it with a bang.
But once again, Mayu Kurata, our overall winner at the 2006 Friendship Classic.
This concludes our show for today. And don't forget, we'll be back next week with another edition of Gymnastics USA right here on CNA, the Comcast Network. See you then.